Listen up. If you've ever been ghosted, ignored, or left on read, wondering what the hell you did wrong, I'm about to give you a truth that cuts deep. The single hardest thing for a woman to handle is not your anger. It's not your arguments. It's your silence. Cold, calculated, strategic silence that offers her no drama, no validation, and no way to spin the story. That silence isn't passive. It's a weapon. And in the next 16 minutes, you are going to learn exactly how to wield it. This video is about the one silent move that completely flips the power dynamic. The one move that makes her regret walking away from you without you ever sending a single text, making a single call, or begging for a second chance. This is about making her feel your absence so profoundly that she questions her own decision. If you want her to wish she never let you go, you have to stop reacting and start disappearing. You see, the game is rigged against the guy who shows his cards. The moment you plead, argue, or demand answers, you lose. You hand her the control she was banking on. But what if you refuse to play? What if you just walked away from the table? Stay with me. I'm going to break down this no fluff, no nonsense strategy, point by brutal, honest point. And by the end of this video, you will understand why going quiet isn't a sign of weakness, it's the ultimate power play. Let's get one thing straight. The average guy loses the game the second it begins, because he reacts. He gets angry. He sends a wall of text. He demands an explanation. He posts sad quotes on his social media. When you fight her fire with your own fire, you're still playing her game, on her terms. You're giving her exactly the validation she needs to confirm she made the right choice. Silence, however, operates on a completely different battlefield. It's a psychological nuke. When you go completely quiet, no explanation, no final words, no dramatic exit, something shifts in her brain. She is suddenly and violently forced to confront a new reality. The predictable man she thought she had figured out is gone. The guy she could provoke, ignore, or text at 3 a.m. out of boredom has vanished. Your sudden stillness forces her to lose her footing. And that uncertainty, that complete loss of control, is what starts the process of her regretting everything. This isn't about playing petty games or being immature. This is about emotional mastery. It's about re-establishing your value by demonstrating that your peace of mind is no longer dependent on her attention. It's the art of leaving the room so quietly that she spends weeks, even months, wondering if you were ever really there, and desperately wishing you still were. Here is the first psychological domino you need to knock over. In her mind, she has built an entire illusion around you. A story. And in that story, you are the predictable character. You're the guy who is always available. The guy who will forgive her for bailing on plans. Text. Your predictability is the foundation of her power. Because she can predict you, she can control you. Because she can control you, she dictates your value. When you go silent, you don't just bend the rules of her game. You take the entire game board, snap it in half over your knee, and set it on fire. Your unexplained absence shatters her illusion of control into a million pieces. It's not just that you're gone. It's that you're gone without permission. You didn't follow her script. Think about it from her perspective. She was counting on you to chase. She was expecting you to break. Her entire sense of superiority in the situation was built on the assumption that you would react in a weak, predictable way. When you do the exact opposite, when you simply vanish from her radar without a word, her world tilts on its axis. She has no response for this. She has no defense. And that's the moment her regret begins to plant its seeds, all because you shattered the illusion that she had you figured out. Now, this is fascinating. She will feel you pulling away long before her ego allows her to admit it. Your presence used to fill a space in her life, whether she valued it or not. The good morning texts. The likes on her stories. The reliable replies. When that all stops, it creates a vacuum. A void. She will absolutely notice the silence where your attention used to be. But she won't show it. Not at first. In fact, you'll probably see the opposite. This is where her behavior becomes a performance. She might start posting more on social media. Pictures of her out with friends, laughing a little too loud, stories tagged in places she knows you'll see. She's not happy. She's broadcasting. She's creating noise to drown out the silence you've left behind. She's essentially shouting into the void, hoping for an echo. Hoping for a sign that you're watching, that you care, that you're hurt. This is classic denial. She's trying to prove to herself, and to you, that your absence doesn't affect her. But inside, a different process is unfolding. Doubt. Confusion. Every question she asks herself in the quiet moments when the performance is over is a small victory for you. The real battle isn't one in her inbox, it's one inside her head. This next point is the psychological masterstroke. When you don't react, you deprive her of emotional fuel. See, every reaction, even an angry one, is a form of validation. Blocking her on social media is the loudest reaction of all. It gives her a story to tell her friends, a way to paint you as the immature one. Your silence, however, gives her nothing. No fuel. No drama. No closure. Your stillness becomes a blank canvas, and her mind, which despises a vacuum, will rush to fill it with its own worst-case scenarios. Is he over me? Did he find someone better? Was I not that important to him after all? She is left alone with her own thoughts, and your silence makes those thoughts echo louder and louder. It is the ambiguity of silence that is so brutal. A block is a clear statement. A fight has a beginning and an end. But silence is an open-ended question that you refuse to answer. It creates a storm in her mind that she can't escape, a quiet chaos that slowly erodes her confidence and her certainty. You're not giving her a storm to react to, your stillness is creating one inside of her. Silence isn't a lightning strike, it's a slow-acting poison. In the immediate aftermath of you pulling back, she might even feel a sense of relief or freedom. Finally, he gets the hint, she might think. She's confident, arrogant even, assuming that you'll crack in a few days. She believes she holds all the cards and that time is on her side. She is dead wrong. Time is your greatest ally and her greatest enemy. As the days turn into a week, then 2 weeks, then a month, the nature of your silence changes. What at first felt like a temporary pause now begins to feel permanent. The silence grows heavier. The door she assumed was just temporarily closed now seems locked and barricaded. Each passing day without a word from you is another layer of concrete solidifying the reality that you are gone. For good. This is when true regret begins to fester. It's not the explosive regret that comes from a heated breakup. It's a slow, creeping realization that she miscalculated, that she underestimated your strength, and that she let something valuable slip through her fingers. Most guys are too impatient to let this process work. They break the silence after 3 days. But if you have the discipline to let time do the heavy lifting, the pressure will build inside her mind until she is forced to confront the one conclusion she was trying to avoid: she made a huge mistake. Being gone is a physical state. You're not texting her, you're not calling her. But you're still thinking about her. You're still checking her social media. Your energy is still tethered to her. She can feel this. She knows that a simple breadcrumb text from her, a "hey stranger," might be enough to pull you back in. Becoming emotionally unreachable is a total system shutdown. It's a fundamental shift in your energy. It means your emotional well-being, your happiness, and your state of mind are no longer plugged into her. She can no longer get a rise out of you, good or bad. Her attempts to provoke you, to get your attention, or to test your boundaries hit a brick wall. There's simply nothing there for her to connect with. This is the state that terrifies her because it signals genuine growth. A man who is just ignoring a woman as a tactic is still a pawn in her game. A man who has become emotionally unreachable has left the game entirely. He's not playing for her attention anymore, he's playing for his own peace, his own future. When she eventually sends that test message and it is met with the cold, profound silence of someone who has truly moved on, she will understand. You are no longer an option on her menu. You're a different restaurant she can't even get a reservation at. Now, pay close attention, because this is about wrestling control of the story. In her mind, she had a narrative planned out. She was the one with the power, the one who would do the leaving. She would be the main character, and you would be the sad side character who gets written out of the show. She expected to walk away with the win, leaving you hurt, confused, or begging. Your silent departure completely demolishes her script. Without a single word, you flip the entire narrative. By walking away with dignity, with self-respect, and without a trace of desperation, you become the one who left. You're not the man who was dumped. You are the man who chose to exit a situation that was beneath him. You become the protagonist of your own story again. This silent role reversal is a massive blow to her ego. There's no dramatic fight she can recount to her friends. There's no pathetic text from you she can screenshot and laugh about. There is only the undeniable, quiet fact that you held your frame and she lost you. She thought she was in the driver's seat, but by refusing to engage, you quietly took the keys, got out of the car, and walked away. The realization that she wasn't the one in control, that she was the one who was left behind, is a truth that will haunt her in the quiet moments. This is the final, brutal checkmate. The most painful thing you can do to a woman who let you go is not to tell her she made a mistake. It's to show her. Your growth, your success, your happiness in her absence is the loudest statement you could ever make. When she eventually peeks back into your life, whether through a mutual friend or by unblocking you on social media, what she sees will determine the depth of her regret. If she sees you thriving, looking better, feeling better, achieving goals, it's a psychological gut punch. It is the undeniable, visual proof that not only do you not need her, but that leaving you was the catalyst for you to become an even better version of yourself. This isn't about faking it. It's not about posting a picture next to a rented Lamborghini. It's the real, authentic glow-up. The new confidence in your eyes. The new projects you're working on. The genuine joy in your life. Her ego was built on the fantasy that you would be broken without her. That she was the best thing that ever happened to you. When your visible growth proves that fantasy was a lie, it silently screams that she was not the prize, she was the obstacle. And you removing that obstacle allowed you to level up. That is a pain no apology from her can ever fix. At this final stage, your silence transforms from a tactic into a permanent lesson. You don't have to spell it out for her. Your complete and total absence becomes the consequence. It is the living embodiment of the lesson she never wanted to learn. Actions have repercussions. Every time she considers reaching out and stops because she knows she'll get no reply, that's the lesson. Every time she sees another happy couple and feels a pang of regret for how she treated you, that's the lesson. Your absence becomes a mirror, and when she looks into it, she doesn't see you anymore. She sees a reflection of her own choices, her own disrespect, her own failure to value a good man when she had one. You don't need to be the villain. You don't need to be the angry ex. By walking away with quiet dignity and self-respect, you become the standard against which she will measure every man she meets after you. You become the silent lesson that she will carry with her for a very, very long time. So here is the final, unshakable truth. Silence is not empty. It's full of power. It's full of self-respect. It's full of the answers she was too arrogant to listen to when you were speaking. If you've been pushed aside, ghosted, or made to feel small, this silent strategy is how you take your power back. It's not about revenge, it's about recovery. It's about rebuilding your throne, not by fighting for it, but by demonstrating that you never needed her in your kingdom to begin with. Sometimes, the most masculine, powerful, and attractive action you can take is to do nothing at all. To let your absence speak the volumes your words never could. Before you click away from this video, ask yourself one final, critical question. Are you going to be the guy she forgot, or are you going to become the man she'll always regret losing? The choice is made in what you do next. If this message hit home for you, I want you to do one thing. Go down to the comments and type, "My silence speaks for me." Let's create a community of men who understand this power. And if you're ready to go deeper, to build this unshakable core of confidence into every aspect of your life, I've put together some powerful free resources for you in the description below. Grab them. They will change the game for you. Remember this. The real power is never in the chase. It's in building a life so incredible that you're happy to walk away from anyone who doesn't see your value. Stay sharp. Stay silent. And always, always stay in control.